as Heather had stated, I am a case manager with South Madison Coalition. So for the past 12 years, I've been working directly with anybody that's usually 60 and older, sometimes younger if they have a dementia diagnosis, throughout Dane County. And I've worked with a lot of people with dementia, some of it early onset, different types of dementia. And now I'm working as part of the Dane County's Dementia Capable Crisis Grant. And the grant was awarded to Dane County to kind of focus on the issues that might come up when someone has a diagnosis of dementia and their interactions with first responders, crisis workers, as a result of sometimes the behaviors that come as a result of the dementia and the misunderstanding that happens in that person that has dementia. So kind of working from that part, helping to prevent those from happening or to minimize those episodes. And one of the ways that we came up with, and actually we didn't come up with the form ourselves, but we did kind of adapt it to Dane County, is this form that is in the purple folder that's on the back table that Stoughton is so nice enough to put out, and then there's also extra copies out there. It's called a Helpful Information for First Responders when Assisting Persons with Dementia. It's a long title, I know. However, it's basically kind of a quick snapshot, kind of a life story, if you will, of the person who has dementia, so that if someone has to come into the home where that person with dementia is, they can kind of quickly glance over this and maybe pick up some cues or some tips that might help them in responding to the situation where that person might be. And I've had some scenarios brought to me from different people throughout the county. One example just recently was a couple living at home, and the woman has dementia, the wife has dementia, the husband does not. He's the primary caregiver, but unfortunately he's also very hard of hearing. And she was confused. She was having a confused episode, and she didn't know where he was, and she didn't recognize him. So she was concerned that there was someone in the home, and she still knew enough to call 911. She called 911, and the police came, not knowing the situation, not knowing he was hard of hearing, and he couldn't hear what they were saying. He wasn't able to tell them about her, so they literally thought he was a stranger in the home. So it took quite a while for that scenario to get worked out. However, if the first responders, the police, may have known that there was a person in the home with dementia, they might have been able to react differently. It's also great in a situation, for example, if the person with dementia may be there and their caregiver has an emergency and EMS or first responders need to come into the home, they'll know, hopefully, that there's a person with dementia in the home. Emergency situations can be scary for anybody, and especially for those people with dementia. So we're just trying to minimize that situation as best as possible. Yes, you had your hand up.
So where does that information go? Is it attached to the phone number, or?
So what we've done is we initially wanted it to go through the 911 system, but that's very complex. And we found out that at this time, it's not something that would be easily done. But there are different communities, and I'm not sure about Stoughton, but there are different communities that do have a capability of scanning and uploading a file. But what we figured would be probably the best thing is the file of life, and these can be obtained probably.
Those are in the purple folders.
They're in the purple folders. There's more in the back, and if you need more than that,
the Stoughton
Senior Center, the ADRC of Dane County have them. But anyway, what we found was maybe having these and having it completed, put in there, and then I brought these purple angel stickers, and these identify the purple is the color of dementia awareness, and this is a dementia angel. And to have one of these, maybe if you put it on the outside of the pocket, and then also what we're doing is asking if you feel comfortable putting it on the inside of your door jamb of your main entrance, whether it's your front door, your back door, your side door, whatever the entrance is that they're going to use. That way they can identify that there may be someone in the home that has dementia. And it's not enough that you guys are maybe filling this out on someone in the home that has dementia, but we're also training the first responders throughout Dane County. So I'm going out and I'm talking to EMS, firefighters, and police, and I'm explaining that we're encouraging people to fill out this form and putting it in their home, and we're asking them to look for it when they go into the home so that they're aware that this might be there. This form is purple because it is, again, the color for dementia awareness. And there's questions on there that we want to make sure that first responders will be able to pick up on things. Sometimes people respond in different ways depending on what the name they go by. And we want to make sure that that's in there. Instead of calling somebody Mr. Smith or Mr. Castaneda, they can call them Bill or whoever. Yes, ma'am?
How desperate do you have to be before you call anybody?
I think that's within your own comfort level. If you're having, you mean call somebody because of maybe a situation going on?
Yeah, if you need help.
I think it's up to you and your own comfort level. Nobody can tell you that you can't or that the situation doesn't warrant a call. But if you're uncomfortable in that situation as a caregiver, I would certainly reach out for help. If it's not an emergency, maybe reaching out to your local senior center for a case manager, they might can help as well.
Some people like me, I'd be ashamed to call anybody.
Well, we want to make sure that the people that need the help have that help. Anything that you would say would be confidential. And if you want to maybe come up with a plan with a case manager on your own, kind of pre-planning, that might be helpful too. And it might just make it a little bit more easier for you knowing that that plan is in place. That's something that I've done with people that I work with. I'm sure Kelly and the case managers at the Stoughton Senior Center also do that. And if you don't live within Stoughton, maybe you're from outside, each community has a senior center that you could reach out to. And if you're uncomfortable reaching out to them, you can see me afterwards and maybe I can make that connection for you. I'd be happy to. The form asks, go ahead.
Can I ask, just
Sure.
mention, I'm assuming like if we were to call 911 or, I mean, you might be able to even ask if police had to come out, like no sirens, no lights.
Yep.
To
Mhm.
try and minimize sort of the
Yeah.
attention that might be brought to the
Mhm.
They're
situation.
supposed to do that. We live down on Sky Island.
Mhm. So, if you can certainly just let them know that I prefer no lights or sirens, and hopefully they'll be able to respect that for you. I don't work in emergency services, so I can't answer that with a definitive yes or no, but I would hope that they would be able to respect that.
See, for an example, if someone wanders away and you can't find them,
Mhm.
then you can call for help.
Certainly.
I'll be talking about that.
Yep.
That's my thing.
No,
So anyway,
The Stoughton, when they were out, the maintenance men were out looking for somebody and they found them on the railroad tracks.
Oh.
But it can happen.
Oh, yes ma'am, it can. I've included a set of instructions on here that might help guide someone in completing this. If you have any questions about the completion of the form, the case managers at Stoughton are familiar with it and know how to complete it as well, or you can also reach out to me, and I'll leave my cards on the back table before I leave today, so if that's something you would like more information on. But certainly Stoughton Senior Center has a lot of information as well. Thank you.
So my kind of area of expertise, if you will, is wandering, you mentioned. So like Heather said, I manage the Silver Alert program for the Department of Justice. I do happen to live in Stoughton though, so I'm a Stoughton resident. I'm also part of the Stoughton Dementia Friendly Initiative, so I would be one of the people who could provide, Stoughton Dementia Friendly training in our area, so I'm kind of a local face. But so regarding wandering though, I think there's two most important things for you to know about wandering. And that's, if your loved one has dementia, just assume they're going to wander. Plan for it, be ready for it, so that hopefully, and do some things in advance so that hopefully they are recovered quickly and safely. Some things you can do that are very easy to be prepared in case your loved one is at risk for wandering is to have good photos of them. We cannot use driver's license photos. Law enforcement cannot disseminate those photos, it's a state statute. So you need to have photos of people, good, clear front photos. And if they say dress up for church on Sunday, but the rest of the week they're kind of lounging around at home, maybe have 2 photos of them dressed up with their hair done and the other one lounging on the couch. So that no matter when they go missing, you've got a photo of what they likely look like. That's probably one of the most important things, is having a good current photo. And we know that with, when somebody is advancing in the disease, their appearance can change fairly quickly, so take current photos, every so often. Another thing is if they're, say, very early stages and they're still driving, maybe get personalized license plates, or put a bumper sticker on there, or a window cling, or something noticeable. So if we do have to send out an alert for somebody, and we want the public looking for them, we can say, he's got a bumper sticker that says this. It's very noticeable, it's something the public can easily remember instead of like a license plate number. So there are...
Would those stickers be what's included in here, a little purple?
You could, yeah, why not? I mean, I would advise something bigger so that people can see it. But if you want to put something on there, put on whatever you'd like. So those are some very easy things that you can do. Obviously, like Jody mentioned, having the form, even reaching out to maybe the Stoughton Police Department or your local police department and letting them know that, this is where I live, I care for my spouse, they've got dementia, and I'm worried about them wandering. Just kind of giving them a heads up. I do know that the Stoughton Police Department is very open-minded about this form and being aware in advance of somebody having dementia in the community, so they are open to that. And we are kind of in the works with them and talking about getting this form kind of in their system as well. So that's probably the first thing, is just being ready and assume they're going to wander. 60% of people with dementia wander. A lot of people wander repeatedly. And then the second thing is to not wait, not wait in calling. So if somebody is missing, if they're endangered, call immediately. Law enforcement should be responding immediately. I also will leave my card back there if for some reason you're not finding that you're getting an immediate response from law enforcement. By all means, reach out to me. But it's not like TV has us think where there's a 3-day waiting period and then we can do something. That's not real life.
Another question I have.
Yeah.
How much does it cost to call?
There's no cost.
No cost?
Yeah, there's never a cost for you to call
For
911 and get help. So when in doubt, just call. If you're worried about somebody's safety, or if they're in immediate danger, or if somebody's missing, just call 911. It is an emergency and somebody should come immediately. Because what we find and what I hear from families kind of historically is that somebody will go missing numerous times. Well, but they always come home. They've always found their way back. So they don't want to bother the police. They don't want to, maybe be viewed as a neglectful caregiver or whatever they may worry about. Law enforcement definitely wants that call right away when someone's missing, especially with the weather that we get in the winter and people going missing without shoes on. It is an emergency. So those are probably the 2 things that I would suggest, just being ready, doing things you can. And in the brochure, they're back here, I've kind of got some tips, like I mentioned, how you can be ready. And then if they are missing, to call right away. Because with the Silver Alert program, there is a resource for law enforcement to get that information out to the public immediately. We had one this morning. A gentleman in Milwaukee walked away from a hospital. He met the criteria. We issued the alert. Because he was on foot, we only issue it in Milwaukee County. But that's what my job is. I am kind of a liaison between getting the resource out and law enforcement. So that's why I'm here. So if anybody has any questions about the program, I'm happy to answer them, but the most important thing is just to be ready and to call immediately if someone's missing. Yes?
Going back to the file for life, is there a standard place in the house that should be stored?
Wherever, usually it's like the refrigerator. Some people have those metal back doors, where the, you know what I'm talking
Yeah.
about, the back door. In my house, that's kind of my communication hub, is that. But in my parents' house, it's the refrigerator. They actually have their file of life on the refrigerator, so that that's where they know to look for it.
Stoughton EMS knows to look for it, typically at the fridge, so it's a good
Okay.
bet.
But
So my name is Sarah. I'm the program coordinator of the Safe at Home program, which is a falls prevention program in Dane County for anybody 60 and over. So it's completely free, funded by the United Way of Dane County. And what we do is we provide in-home safety assessments for folks, and what we're really looking for are potential falls risks. So tripping hazards, or grab bars in bathtubs, or railings, that kind of thing. We're looking for ways to make your home safer so you're less likely to fall. We also can do medication reviews, because medications can be a contributing factor to falls, especially if you're on a lot of medications, or there are different symptoms for, not, what's the word for? Side effects. Thank you. That's like a symptom of a medication. If there are specific side effects of your medication, drowsiness, dizziness, all those things can be a potential contributing factor to falls. So we do the home assessment, we do the medication review, and then after the assessment, we follow up by phone to help in whatever way we can. So let's say we recommend a raised toilet seat. You're having difficulty getting on and off the toilet, or you have one of those low toilets. We can help you figure out how to get one of those seats, or if you don't know where to go, you don't know how much it costs, or if you have financial concerns, we can try to get you connected to grant funding in the area, get you connected to a loan closet. Our goal is to help make your home more accessible to you and prevent falls within the home. About half of all falls happen at home. Some folks think that, well, if I don't go out, I won't fall. But a lot of falls do happen at home. But falls are preventable. So if we can remove some home hazards, that's one way to help keep some independence and keep you at home. A few other tips for falls prevention would be getting regular exercise, or especially strength and balance. Even if you go walking every day, or you go to the gym and go on an exercise bike, those things are great for your overall health, good for your cardiovascular system, good for mood, but they don't actually contribute to better balance. You need to do balance-specific exercises in order to challenge that balance. If you're biking or walking or even swimming, you're always going forward. And often when we fall, we're falling to the side or falling backwards. So challenging those muscles in a safe environment in order to improve that balance. For folks with dementia, there is a dementia-specific balance improvement program where it's a one-on-one instruction with a teacher, and I think your caregiver or spouse can come as well. And that has been shown to help improve balance among folks who have dementia. I believe that's through MSCR, the Madison School and Community Recreation, but if you, the ADRC might be able to help get you connected with that too. Another aspect of falls prevention is vision. Your eyes sort of tell you where you are in space. So your eyes tell you, oh, there's something there, don't trip over it. But as your vision might weaken as you get older, it's important to get your vision checked and get your prescriptions updated. And dementia can also contribute to, patterns being difficult to see or colors blurring together. So that's another issue too, is in your home, maybe you maybe have stairs and they're carpeted or they're all wooden, and you look down the stairs and it kind of just looks like a slide. You can't quite tell one edge of the step from another. One way you could maybe combat that is putting a contrasting color, either paint or grip tape on the edge of each step. So if you have wooden brown stairs, maybe a white piece of tape right on the edge, so that way it gives your eyes a cue that this is where the edge of that step is. Same thing in the bathtub. A lot of things in bathrooms are porcelain and white, and especially if there's a lot of glare, it can be hard to determine where the edge of the tub is versus the bottom of the tub. So even putting a towel over the side of the tub to give you an idea of this is where the side is. Or on the bottom of your tub, there are adhesive strips that you can put down, and you can get them in different colors. So if you have a white tub, maybe put them down in black. So that way you can see this is the bottom of the tub. So those are a couple tips, maybe if you have difficulty with vision or depth perception. So for falls prevention, again, the home safety, medication management, getting exercise, especially strength and balance specific exercises. Tai Chi is great, yoga is great, ballroom dancing, even things like golf and bowling are good for balance. Because think about it, if you're bowling, I mean, if you have the ability to bowl, you're purposefully sort of putting yourself off balance a little bit. It takes a lot of core strength and whatnot. Same thing with golf. Having to swing a golf club takes a lot of balance. So pursuing some kind of balance or strength exercise. And then getting your vision checked and reviewing medications. I don't know if I said that one already. So those are 4 ways to help prevent falls. If you're interested in the Safe at Home program, we go anywhere in Dane County. Anybody 60 or over, it's a completely free assessment. And everything is voluntary.
I
Question?
hate to be the one asking the questions, but do you have a paper with the exercises on it for balance that we can take home?
I do not, but if you give me your phone number or your address, I would be happy
We need
to
to improve on the balance.
mail you something. I also have a sheet, I didn't bring it with me today, of what to look for in an exercise class. So if you're leafing through what things are offered, it tells you what qualities are we looking for in order to improve balance. So it talks about dynamic gait, static gait, and explains what all of those things are. So for example, one really good balance exercise is practicing standing on one foot. You want to make sure you're doing it in a safe environment, because we don't want anybody falling when they're practicing their balance. You want to challenge your balance, but not so much that you fall over. So making sure you're doing it in a safe environment, maybe in a hallway, maybe you have your hand on the wall or kitchen counter or something, just a light touch if you need, or right there, and practice standing on one foot. That's really important. Things like getting in and out of the car, getting in and out of the tub. All of those things you have to be able to stay on one foot for a little bit of time. So practicing on one foot, practicing on the other. See how, can you do it for 30 seconds? Can you do it for 10 seconds? So every day, even just a little bit of practice can be helpful. And I can send, anybody who wants more information on exercise or balance, you can talk to me. Another really good resource is physical therapy. Especially if you have a knee that's bothering you, a hip that's bothering you, an ankle that's bothering you, if you don't have as much range of motion as you used to, physical therapy is a really good way to help get your body to do what you want it to, and allow you to continue doing the things that you like. And your doctor can get you an order, and depending, you might even be able to get PT to come to your house. Maybe you have to go to the clinic. So that's a really good thing too. Before you start any exercise, it's a good idea to talk to your doctor about it, just to make sure that you're all good to go, and they might have tips for you too. But yeah, I'm more than happy to talk about exercise or balance and give out community resources for that as well. So for the home safety assessment, everything is voluntary. So if we recommend something, you don't have to do it. We're not going to show up to your house with a crowbar and start ripping things out. I'm not going to show up with a bag and throw all your throw rugs in there and run away, We'll make our recommendations. You have the recommendations, and then we help you in whatever way that we can. We are not mandatory reporters, so we're not going to tell on you to anybody. The information is between you and us, and our goal is to help keep you at home if that's where you want. Question, yes.
What are the mandatory reporters?
Oh, I don't know. But some people,
You're not one.
no, some people just get nervous that we're there to, yeah, we're there to get them in trouble, or we're there to tell them to get out of their home. And that's, I don't know who those people are or if they even exist, but that's not our job. We're not there to tell somebody that, you know, you're not fit to be here anymore. Our job is just to, based on the home that you do have, how can we optimize it for you? How can we make it a little bit easier?
I have to piggyback on what Sarah is saying. I think as a case manager at the Stoughton Senior Center, I've referred, just in the past couple of weeks, at least 3 different people to the Safe at Home program. We've been referring there for years. And it's interesting, the first couple of comments is, well, they'll take away all my throw rugs and that's all they'll do, but there's just so much more that they do. And it is in a very non-judgmental way, and it's just good information. The other thing I really appreciate about the program is they really do have access to equipment that people need, or resources to equipment. If people do have, you know, struggling financially a little bit, access to some funding, maybe through other agencies. I don't know if you have your own grant.
We do have some of our own funding too.
Yeah, so just, so finances often, that shouldn't be a barrier to getting adaptive equipment that you may need, or sometimes extra help in the home, and we can kind of coordinate together. So it's a wonderful piece, and I forgot about the medication review piece. So extremely important piece to safety. Yeah.
Another question, do you loan out walkers and canes if you need them?
Oh, so that's a great entrance into the senior center then, one of the things we do. So, thank you. So at the Stoughton Senior Center, we serve people, anyone 55 and older in the city of Stoughton or Dunkirk, Albion townships. And we do have an extensive loan closet. So technically we have 3 loan closets. So one is dedicated just to incontinence supplies that have been donated. So an entire room just for that, multiple sizes. And then another room is just for the 2-wheeled walkers, 4-wheeled walkers, wheelchairs, bath benches, extended bath benches. Boy, you name it, canes. So yeah, it's a very good loan closet, and we're happy to donate, lend for as long as you need it, for the most part. So, yeah, absolutely. So I'm one of 3 case managers at the Stoughton Senior Center, and all of us work really hard to just be there for you for whatever it may be. So we serve a range of issues, and one of them, more and more, is serving people and their loved ones who have dementia or other progressive chronic brain disease. So pretty much, and I think this might be in most of the purple folders, we tend to go with a, starting with where you are. It's very scary, I think, to take the first step in talking to someone. If you don't know me, it's very hard to approach a stranger and say, hey, here's my most vulnerable situation. And it's usually a very painful situation, and you might be afraid or have all kinds of emotions. So it's tough to come and talk to someone. We try to make it as easy as possible. We can do home visits if that feels more comfortable. We can meet you in our office, in a neutral place that might feel, as comfortable as possible. Everything we talk about is confidential, so we're serving you, and we've heard a lot from people in their journey, so I don't know if there's much that would surprise us. Again, just trying to have a safe place for people to come and talk about what's going on. And our primary job is to listen and try to link you to what you think is going to be most helpful. Sometimes that's support. We have Dementia Friendly Caregiver Group that meets once a month. We have these quarterly events going on, the Dementia Friendly Group. But our role as case managers are helping you get connected to education if you need more information about the disease or its progression. A really important piece is helping you with the planning, because there's a lot of long-term planning associated with this, with the progression. So we advocate for as early as possible with the diagnosis that you have a plan. You know, get your legal information completed. That could be the healthcare power of attorney, living will, financial power of attorney, your wills, but also talking with your loved one together, maybe family meetings, about how you want support to go. What do you want that to look like? Do you want to have as much possible in home? So what would that support look like? Do you want to maybe be more of a pivotal person in looking at placements for 10, 15 years down the road? And what might that look like? So we have a lot of that information, but again, we can also just share with you, you know, what some of those options might look like for future planning. Let's see. Yeah, there's really no right way to navigate this, and we don't have hard set answers because everybody is different. Your histories are different, where you're situated are different, your family composition, everything's different, right? So there's no right answer because everyone has such a diverse what they're coming to with this disease. So I just really admire people who can just say, hey, I'm looking for this information, where do I go next? And we like to try to provide those resources. Yeah.
I have another question. I think we all know that winter's coming, and that's the scariest time. You know, my husband was staying in Stoughton because he had a knee replacement, so when I drove up there, the parking lot was like a skating rink. They don't even put ice, you know, to melt it. So you have to kind of skate from car to car to get in. And I think we really have to be careful when we step out of our car that we aren't under the car, because it's really dangerous. And then my son came when I was ready to go home, and he took a hold of me, and all we did was stand there and slide to the car. I mean, these are things I think the hospital should know, Stoughton should know, that these parking places where you park your cars where you fall. And that can be prevented. Another thing why we're here, what can we do to slow down the advancement of dementia?
Well, according to what I've read, like from some of the supports, like Alzheimer's Association, some of the research out there, there's, I guess, a short gamut of things. Some people say that there's some medications, so certainly relying on your primary physician or who you've been referred to for the disease, in terms of what their recommendations might be for medication. The Alzheimer's Association will point to staying as socially active as possible. We're alluding to staying as physically active as possible. You know, there's no way to completely cure this, and there may be ways to slow it down for some people, but that would be really in the realm of checking with your doctor about what might be some best options in that area for your loved one. So, but thank you for those comments. I also want to know, a lot of the scary piece to this is with planning, sometimes what looms in your mind is how expensive this could be down the road, like the placement and the in-home care. And that's, I guess, another plug for planning ahead. Talking to a financial planner. Maybe you need to talk to an estate planning attorney who could maybe help you situate what your financial situation is and how it can help with funding that you may need in the future. Or if there's really not much of a financial base, a really important piece is the Aging and Disability Resource Center of Dane County, in that they can they are at the forefront of helping people determine through benefits counseling, based on your financial situation, what should you look at. There may be some state assistance for care, and they have a way to talk you through that to see about if you're eligible. There's certainly a lot of support through the ADRC, dementia specialists there. But if you're concerned about the financial piece to this, it's very, very important to start talking to the ADRC of Dane County, and just starting to set up what your financial outlook might be with the planning. Any other comments on that? Okay.
It's also is confidential, so if you call the ADRC does not tell anyone else that you've called. We will talk to you on the phone, we will come out to see you. You also can come in to see us, but we won't share with anyone that you've called or asked us questions, and we are just here to provide information.
It's invaluable. I can't tell you how many times I've sat kind of on my side of the desk with someone who's really struggling because the symptoms, the behaviors, or maybe wandering has gotten to be so overwhelming that they're kind of feeling behind the 8 ball with all of that. And so sometimes it feels like scrambling to get the care and the support and moving as quickly as you can to get that, but sometimes it doesn't feel fast enough. So I love that you're here because we're talking about kind of early advanced planning. And that includes, this information and support and education, but it also includes, that legal and financial side too, because sometimes those ducks in a row that you have to get kind of together are all about, how are we going to pay for this down the road? So all of it's kind of important, and all of it is what we try to work with people.
In those purple folders that you got at the very top page on the right is a list of those resources, starting with Stoughton local resources, going down to more broad resources. The Aging and Disability Resource Center is listed on there. There's the Alzheimer's Association and the Alzheimer's and Dementia Alliance of Wisconsin are on there on the bottom. Definitely fantastic resources for advocacy and education and guiding you through those types of decisions that need to be made. So definitely reach out to any of those or all of them, whatever the case may be.
So there's about 15 minutes left, and we purposely left that for you to ask questions or to ask the panel anything that might be on your mind in addition to what we've already talked about, where you just kind of have open conversation about anything that you might want to get out of today's session. So.
I would just like to say that we're all here for some reason, us four up here, but we all have said something very similar, and that is the planning part. And I think no matter where you are in this journey, whether it's at the very beginning, like a diagnosis yesterday, or you're even suspecting it, to being already in that journey, the planning is probably your biggest thing that you could probably focus on. And you don't have to do it all at once. It can be a continual planning that you're doing, because as we know, as dementia progresses, and there's the different kinds of dementia as well, that what you plan for now may not be appropriate or may not be what you need. So you may need to adjust that plan as you go down that road. And I think probably all four of us would say that, no matter where you are, and just making sure that you're trying to plan, and if you're feeling overwhelmed, again, reaching out to your local senior center for the case management help and the ADRC as well.
Is it a case manager that we would see to help complete a plan? Or
They could certainly help you with a plan. If it's something that's beyond their scope, they would be able to make that recommendation, such as financial or something like that. But certainly that could be your first point of contact.
We're giving out a lot of referrals to other places, as if we can't be you the answer, or we want you to hear multiple spins on this?
Well, we're not in the Stoughton service area. I mean,
Okay.
we're in the town of Dunn, so we're.
Oh, okay.
So
So you would
we have
be
to see if
technically in the
there's-
McFarland Senior Center District, and they have case management as well.
Mhm.
So, and it's not just, case management can sound kind of heavy.
Yeah.
It's mostly just, we're information resource people.
Mhm.
And so, yes, McFarland Senior Center would be an excellent option, so,
I think one of the big struggles is when you've never experienced any of this before, you're just keeping your head above water. So it's really hard to look into the future. Because right now, what's working, and you're just happy and just trying to focus on what's going on right now. And it's really hard to think long-term because you're just, but I mean, obviously with education and awareness and stuff, you hear more things.
And I think if someone is in that position, I think if you feel comfortable in doing this, reaching out to support groups because they've kind of they're experiencing it at the same time, or maybe they've already experienced it. So I think one of the biggest things is knowing that you're not alone in this and that someone else has been there or is there, can be helpful in and of itself.
My mom is attending, I think it's the once a month meeting for dementia, and she said it's really helped her.
Yeah.
And she has new people have come in and we're talking about they're like in the early stages or whatever, and is okay with the way things are going, and she just looks back a year ago, that was her. A year now, it's totally different than it was a year ago, and now she's got way more challenges, and she doesn't want to say anything to him, isn't like, oh, and it's not going to stay like that, but I think being in there, you'll learn that, I mean, and a guy brought over paperwork for her to, stuff he found out about things, and dropped it off at her house, someone that she met in the group, so it definitely helps my mom try to.
Wonderful. It's great to hear.
I'd say it's a very good group.
Yeah, there's a lot of different support groups facilitated by the senior center. I guess if you just make one call after leaving here to reach out, I would say the senior center is a great starting point. And, then they'll be able to kind of walk you to what may be a good first
I
step.
want to thank all of you for coming because it really assures us that if and when we need the help, that you're here. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Are you going to share anything about the Memory Cafe as well? Just
Sure.
Another resource?
So the Stoughton Dementia Friendly Coalition puts on a memory cafe once a month. It's at the library here in Stoughton. It's the first Tuesday of each month from 9:30 to 11. And it's somebody that has memory loss with a care partner. They come together. And it's not a support group, but it's meant to be just a friendly gathering with coffee and conversation. And like, for example, last month we had somebody come in and talk about beekeeping. And it's actually the chief of fire department is also a beekeeper. So he brought in his bees and he talked about beekeeping and he sampled the honey and we just had a nice morning. So it's meant to, again, as we talked about, one of the important things is to stay socially engaged and not let people be isolated because that just kind of exacerbates things. So that's what we have in Stoughton. They are all over Dane County though. There's one in almost every community. Again, the senior center can direct you to something if the Tuesday morning one doesn't work out. But there's no cost to it. You don't have to register in advance. You just show up on Tuesday morning, first Tuesday of the month. So, yeah, it's fun.
And I would just add I know having worked with folks too, I know support groups aren't always a good fit, but I guess don't give up on the idea of finding what sort of help might fit for you. It could be coming to, seminars like this. It could be learning about readings that you can do on your own. But just knowing that, the senior center and our other resource can link you with those things that just fit best for you because it's different for everyone. We've all heard you've met one person with dementia, you've met one person with dementia. So it's just tailoring and not giving up on finding what might help you.
I have some people just come in and they don't want more resources. They just want to lay down what's going on and just have someone listen to what's going on because it's just too fast and furious. And that's very valuable too, and that's something that we can do. We don't have to always put on our go out and get them kind of hat, you know, and we can just listen. And it's a nice, supported, safe, confidential place to do that. Like, just, I literally have someone come once a month just to do that. Here's what's happening. And I just kind of zip my lips and I'm there hearing that. And sometimes that's just all someone needs. So there's really a range, like Beth says, of different areas people may need help with.
I know one other thing that she learned was exercise. You know, he's not really, never been an exerciser, but they said, take him to the grocery store, you know, take him to go get gas, take him and just get him out, and that's at least something to try to give them some type of exercise without forcing the exercise on them, you know, per se.
And naturally incorporate it into your day.
Help make them feel useful. I guess they need to feel useful at times, and pushing the cart or whatever the case may be.
Big focus of our Dementia Friendly Coalition here in Stoughton is to educate the community and to do, you know, business trainings and just your local, you know, gas stations and Culver's and the grocery store, wherever, that people need to be welcome and their caregivers need to be welcome. So that if there are those, you know, quote, behavioral things that maybe happen somewhere, the caregiver may, you know, feel embarrassed or feel whatever, like it's all right. We've been trained. It's, you know, we know that somebody may take longer to pay, or they may need, when they're ordering, maybe we need to just be more patient and let them take some more time to order, those kinds of things. So we want people to be welcome in the community, still active, and, you know, so that businesses are knowledgeable about that. So that's a big goal of ours. And we're finding there's 32 businesses
32, yeah.
in Stoughton that are trained, you know, dentist office, banks, those kinds of things, so that they know. Like, for example, I did a business training for a dentist in Stoughton, and we talked about just their environment. It's all very, kind of like here, I mean, it's very, all kind of the same color, and if you have vision issues, that may be kind of challenging. So maybe not saying to your person as they get out of the chair, okay, you're gonna go down this hallway, you're gonna take a right and then take a left, and there's the lobby. Maybe you need to just escort the person, or put a big potted plant there and say, at the plant, turn this way. Or just simple things that businesses need to be aware of for somebody with dementia that they may struggle with. So those are the kinds of things we're trying to teach, you know, to the community, so.
I have Parkinson's, and I have a card that says that I do have Parkinson's, that I could show to somebody if there's a need for it.
Yes.
Is there something like this card for
There
dementia?
is, yep.
Where
And
do you get them?
we've got them.
We have some here on the back table.
Okay.
Yep, we've got
Yep.
some so that
That
you can, you know, kind of discreetly give to a clerk and let them know that, you know, I may need a little extra time, or the person I'm caring for has dementia and may need a little extra time, so we have those cards.
Yep. I'll put them right here on the corner of the table for you to pick up on the way out.
And they're also available at the senior center.
We find that businesses, and they want to do the right thing, obviously. People want to they want to give good service, they want to be accommodating, they just need to be educated on it, that's all. So that's what we're trying to do.